Yeah, hello? Oh, what? You want me to start recording gameplay again? Making Formula 1 videos? Oh. You just want me to review F1 2016? Come on, man. I started doing podcasts to avoid this kind of thing. I like my retirement. It's a good retirement. I can cheer on Sebastian Vettel. Alright. Fine. Just this once, okay? If it gets us to 1,000 subscribers, I'm not going to complain. Alright, bye. Well, guess I'm back. Hi guys, I'm Andre Harrison and welcome to a brand new series right here on the Motorsport 101 YouTube channel. Now, for those guys that know me very well in the terms of YouTube and the internet, I've always kind of been known for playing a lot of video games. Why not bring some of that little talent of mine back over here on a brand new platform for you guys to enjoy? There's a bunch of great and excited and all kinds of crazy motorsport video games through up and down the years that, old and new, I'm sure you guys would love to check out. So, for this first episode, I'm tackling the totally not controversial, totally not divisive, and the game that has ruined many a small YouTuber's career. F1 2016 on the Xbox One, PS4 and PC. Let's check it out.
Well, here we go again. Year 8 of Codemasters in the F1 franchise, and a very important second album on current gen after the promising yet incredibly underwhelming 2015, a game that had a great core experience, but was more of a glorified tech demo for what the series can do than a fully fledged £50 release. So much so, Codies actually roped in half a dozen of their most prolific YouTube personalities to bridge the gap to the paying public. So how does F1 2016 hold up? Well, let's find out together. First up, let me be the first to tell you that this game looks awesome. Graphically, this is the best F1 game ever made. Now, obviously it should be, but the level of detail in the rain, for example, the reflections on the cars, the textures, all of it looks superb. I personally have the Xbox One version for this review, and while I know it doesn't run quite as sharply as the PS4 and obviously the PC, I was still very impressed aesthetically. But you don't really care about that, do you? You want to know what I think of the return of career mode. Well, a lot of things have changed, yet many things still stay the same. Let me explain. Right away, the game gives you a nice extra level of customization compared to previous games in the series. You can have your own avatar, which can be used for in-game animations, which is nice. Just a shame there's no female option. I mean, if Milestone can manage it in their biking games, there's no excuses for Codies on this one. Anyway, you can also choose your own racing number that follows you online as well, another nice touch. There's also a helmet selector with certain designs you can customize, as well as a bunch of special ones if you bought the limited edition version. And I like the fact that the design gets replicated on your motorhome's laptop. And of course, you can use your own name again. Huzzah! Once you're up and running, you get an agent again, which tells you about things like job offers, goals for races and sessions, and rival battles. You also get Chris, who spearheads your new research and development plan, the game changer for career mode in general. In the game, depending on how well you perform in your time, you get resource tokens. The biggest way of getting them are via 3 new mini-games intertwined with practice sessions in career mode. They are a track acclimatization test that measures how accurate you are with corner entry and exits, DRS activations and apex speed. A tyre wear test where you have to be careful on your steering and braking inputs to preserve your tyres, while trying to keep to a target lap time. And the other is a quali sim where, well, you can probably guess that one. As you gain points, you can choose to upgrade the car, with parts arriving for the next weekend. And as you upgrade and develop the car over the new 10-season career, so does the other teams in the field. This is at random, so no 2 career modes are ever the same, and you can get some pretty crazy results. Believe me when I tell you, you can easily take Manor and Sauber all the way from the bottom to the top in a handful of seasons. Even more so if you're a lead driver, where you get a 25% point bonus. You can even end development early for a season for a bonus, saving up for a massive winter testing boost. How does it work in reality? It's pretty darn good. I love the nature of development cycles, something that's never really been done at this kind of level and detail in an F1 game before. Now, I think some teams' growth can be really erratic, almost too much so. It's risky as sometimes you can get lopsided growth charts. My brother had a Mercs car that was literally a second faster than the field at one point. How very realistic. But the practice minigames are a great touch, and the mode rewarding you for the more you put into it is something I definitely endorse and encourage. Beyond that, the presentation is much improved. Some of the views out of the motorhome are stunning. The human element of the mode is back from the early games like 2010 and 11, even if some of the old tropes of the series still remain, such as driver ranks, which seem to glitch for top teams. Being Merc's #1 driver is apparently impossible, and rather messy mid-season team changes, which I could easily condemn, but hey, I guess Red Bull gave it justification around Spain this year, so sod it. So how does the game actually play on track? Not bad at all. Some of the presentation changes are very much welcomed. The game having a time delta is a very nice addition, especially for the time trial in TRL Limitlesses of the world. The fact you can change the time of day is another pretty nice feature. Want to try Singapore in the daytime at a GP2? You can. How about Monza as the sun sets? Again, you can. As for the cars themselves, I like the handling model on the whole. The default setups are pretty solid right out of the box, and time can still be found by tweaking, and while the cars are definitely understeer to begin with, once you get into a rhythm and get used to it, it's a very enjoyable experience. New additions to the gameplay include manual starts and the formation lap. Now, the formation lap is almost purely for a practice start and for aesthetic appeal, and it's something I ended up skipping more often than not, but I can't fault Codies for the authenticity, even if it's kinda redundant. The other is manual starts, where you have to hold in the clutch and build up the revs. Another nice touch, and you can definitely tell the difference between a great start and an awful one. Having tyre selections be shown on the timing tower is another nice touch. It makes it easier to work out strategies without having to pause and see the race director for context. Unfortunately, having the AI is still a goddamn chore sometimes, and it's the same problems from last year's game. They are still ludicrously tentative on opening laps, and in general, they can be easily manipulated. They are conservative in trying to pass you, and will actively try to avoid your car if you show them even an inch of front wing. Highly disappointing, and if anything, it takes you out of the experience because in the sport itself, this would just never happen. I'd rather a more aggressive AI that would punish human incompetence, rather than this highly conservative approach. Another problem with them is the return of the safety car. Often it doesn't stay out long enough to pick up the entire field, and the time deltas you have to stick to are often so slow, you're not behind the leaders by the time the green flag comes out, ruining what could be a prime opportunity to benefit your race. And I know this is going to sound like a pet peeve, but the difficulty levels need to adjusting to be brought closer together. I personally am an above average pad player who constantly has to debate whether to play on expert, where you can take 9th ranked Renault into the top 6 easily, or bumping it up to legend and getting my arse kicked, as the differences between AI levels tends to be around 1.5 seconds, and that's way too much. You either end up dominating or constantly having to defend from faster cars. That's not fun. I think a Project Cars-esque approach to difficulty would work better here with a sliding scale. Also, sadly, the game was glitchy as hell on release of the usual deal of flying cars and suddenly changing track conditions, like tracks going from full wet to dry in an instant. I get that it's almost industry standard practice now to have day one patches and games being rushed out despite not being properly tested, but for that to happen when Codies themselves took pride in having a closed beta and they couldn't iron out these issues, well, that's certainly disappointing. So what else does F1 2016 have to offer? Well, not much, sadly. Pro Season is back and it's still as largely redundant as its relation to career is just too close. And besides that, it's your bog standard time trial, quick race and online. From my experience, online is an improvement, definitely more stable than last year. More functional, but you can still get buggy at times, especially in matchmaking, and the lobby options are still somewhat needless, given nearly everyone is going to want the sprints. Period. I know Codies are never going to be able to afford dedicated servers and whatnot, but what they need to invest as much into this as they can, because online is where the game's longevity is going to come from, with league racing on the rise in esports, especially when the game brags about its new 22-player online lobby covering the entire grid. A top-tier online experience would sell thousands more copies, trust me. Oh, and being able to save progress in online leagues is a very nice addition. Hopefully it'll make AOR's job a lot easier. A shame there's no official co-op mode though, as the Saves Progress edition would have gone hand in hand here. So, what do I make of F1 2016 on the whole? It's a good game. It's probably what Codies should have released in the first place last year. And while the tweaks and additions do add up to a much more enjoyable game, I'm not sure we should be praising them for a game that in part was fixing the errors the previous one had. I want Codies to be pushing harder for a game more like F1 2013, one that worked on making the overall experience better and having legitimately viable gameplay alternatives. But taking F1 2016 for what it is, it's a good game, a step in the right direction. I just wish we in the F1 space would stop settling for just good and be pushing for greater things, especially given Codies has put faith and value in us content creators as an entity. But that's a discussion for another day.
Is it worth the 50 quid? Would I recommend it? Only really if you're a fan of the genre, but then if you are, you've probably already bought this game already. There's better races out there right now, and there's probably better races coming very, very soon. But if you're patient and you can pick this up for a reasonable price, sure, give it a spin. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video in general. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more, let me know in the comments. I've got a bunch of games lined up for potential reviews. If you guys want to see it become a full-time series on this channel, I'd love to make it happen. But until next time, I've been Andre Harrison. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.